Hello everyone, my name's Tom. I've been working on windmills for a couple of years trying to come up with something that was cheap and practical that would work well enough to call it a good windmill. The biggest problem has been getting the windmill to turn out of the wind. I've had 3 or 4 other models. Actually, I think this is the 4th model that worked quite well, except they wouldn't turn out of the wind. So this one is one that I'm hoping that will do that. What I've done is I've hinged the vane. You can see here I got some pretty hefty hinges. I tried several other hinges, even ones with springs in them, to get it to return. They just aren't made like they used to be made. Years ago you could buy something that was really good and it would hold up. Hinges nowadays won't do it. These are off of a fire door in an old building that they took the fire doors down and they were tearing the building down, so I grabbed these stainless steel hinges. They're probably 45 years old and they're strong, so they're going to really hold this vane on here really well. The major improvement is these hinges. I've also connected it to a bungee, which allows the vane to turn it out of the wind. When the wind blows hard, the vane will turn it out of the wind, and when the wind slows down, the bungee brings it back to head-on wind. I wanted to show you the rest of the construction on this while I've got it apart. The others were similarly built. This one seems to be a little neater and a little easier to do because I've done it several times. But the main housing for the windmill is made out of plywood. 2 laminated sheets. Pieces of 3/8 exterior plywood. The interior of this is, the bearings are wagon wheel bearings. They come apart and you can see how I've mounted them in there. If you notice here that this piece of all thread is continuous, this won't, obviously this is not going to work the way it is, so this is only for alignment, and when I have it all aligned, and it's pretty well aligned now, this will be the push-pull rod connection to connect the pump, and this is the cam that pumps up and down. This piece I'm going to cut out with my little angle grinder so that the shaft will pass freely through here, through the bottom there, in the slot that's cut. I'm priming this now for a good coat of paint, so it'll be finished up in a couple of days, I hope. This big compartment in front, although it's going to sound crazy, is to balance the vane. That vane is not really all that heavy, but it's long, and when you put that long piece of vane out there, you end up with a lot of weight on the front bearing, and this is where the bearing sets underneath here, and I'll show you the bearing in a minute. So I actually buy bricks from Home Depot and I put them in here to counterbalance the weight of the vane. The blades alone aren't heavy enough to counterbalance this, and if the blades were that heavy, this piece of all thread probably wouldn't hold up that well. Probably would break. Anyway, I'm going to finish this box up and I'll show you the rest of it after it gets going. But you can see it's really simple construction out of cheap materials. I've had them run for 2 months without a movable vane and to turn it out of the wind, but every time it ends up self-destructing when I get a wind over 45 miles an hour. So this is the basic construction of the upper end itself. Now I'm going to come over here on the floor and show you how I get the rest of this to work. This is a 6-inch PVC pipe. This is either casing down into the well, or in my case I stand it in a cement plug in a fish pond, and the plug holds it upright. The pump goes down into this pipe, and comes up and connects into the upper end up here. These are just more laminated pieces of plywood. If you notice, they're screwed from the interior into one laminated piece. That's a circle on the outside. Then on top of that's one more laminated circle. Onto that is fastened the Lazy Susan bearing, a 12-inch Lazy Susan bearing, and that all maintains this 6-inch hole in here, in this 6-inch PVC pipe. This is the hole that you fasten the Lazy Susan through on the inside. This is all primed, and I'm going to give it another coat of paint shortly. These bolts, these nuts come off and go up through the upper end, and I fasten the upper end onto these bolts with nuts and washers from the top once I assemble it. You can see here that it really will spin good in the wind. This is the easiest solution I've found. These Lazy Susan bearings are rated at 1,000 pounds weight. I don't think that means that it's going to take 1,000-pound windmill whipping around on the top of it. So that's why it was important. You saw that I made that compartment to hold bearings, to hold bricks rather, so that I could balance this stuff once it's all in place. And it's really crucial to balance that, otherwise you're going to have this upper end flopping around like crazy. Well, I think the next part is to finish the painting. You can see here how I've reinforced everything to hold the hinges really well. It's bolted completely through. I'm giving it a coat of paint. I'm going to finish it up hopefully today, and in a few days I'll have an update and have it out in the wind. Sometimes my schedule is more on when I feel like doing it than as a need to do it. So we'll just see how it goes, but at least you can see this part. If it works, you'll be seeing this video. If it doesn't work, well, you probably won't see this video because I probably won't show it. Anyway, like I said, I've done 4, and I think this is actually the 4th one. Other windmills, they all worked well, except that when the wind blew real hard, I didn't have a way to turn them out of the wind. And we'll see if this works in a few days, and hopefully I'll get it published. Anyway, any questions, you can email me to the YouTube connection. Thank you.